Hi everybody, how's it going? I'm excited because today I get to talk about Wolves of the Calla. It was something, it was a lot. Wizard and Glass was a very long flashback and Wolves of the Calla is back into crazy action. So overall, I thought it had a very great structure. I thought the prose was excellent. I mean, it's Stephen King, especially late period Stephen King. This was written in 2002, I think. You really feel Stephen King develop as a writer with each book. And in some ways, you feel like he learns and takes an element of a book and brings it into the next book. There is so much else that is going on. I mean, it's a long book and there's a lot of stuff going on. When people complained that it was just a long sidetrack story where there's like the quartet gets involved with this town that needs saving, blah, blah, blah. We don't care. Let's get back to the tower. I was surprised because this book was really all about the tower in a lot of ways. There was a lot of jumping through time. There was a lot of finding out new information and mysteries being solved. I will say that this book in a lot of ways was a series of long conversations. You look at the cover and you think, wow, there's gonna be a lot of action in this. There's not a ton of action. There are some great action set pieces for sure, and the ending is action-packed, but the majority of the book is a lot of conversations, learning about new characters. Here's the thing, it almost feels like books 1, 2, 3, 4 were kind of written without a clear direction. There was not a clear sense of, okay, this is where we're going. And I don't know why I get the sense now, because I know Stephen King isn't necessarily a plotter, but I got the sense reading Wolves of the Calla, like, okay, this is the first part of a trilogy, the trilogy being the last 3 books of the series. And this is plotted out, that there is an idea about where this is heading. We have an idea about a destination, and Stephen King is setting up a lot of threads. And there are a lot of things to follow. There's a lot of information, dates, details, characters, events that need to coincide at the right time, different universes interacting. It's sometimes a lot to digest and keep up with, but you kind of have to just trust Stephen King to go with it, because he will explain things. You know, he won't just leave you behind, really, because he's not really that kind of writer. I will say I enjoyed this better than Wizard and Glass. I really liked Wizard and Glass. I am really excited to finish this series. The one downside to Wolves of the Calla, I will say, is it's a little too long, probably. I think there's a little too much day-to-day stuff going on in the town. I just didn't care that much about certain characters who live in the Calla. You know, it all pays off, but I do feel like certain things could have been trimmed back. To me, this is kind of like a longer, a little more bloated version of the Wastelands. So I would put them on the same level. I love Gunslinger and Drawing of the Three for totally different reasons. In some way, it's hard to rank the series because they all have different things that you love about them. There we have it. That's my non-spoiler review of Wolves of the Calla. So spoilers. I loved seeing the interactions between the quartet and Father Callahan. That may be one of my favorite parts of this book, was Father Callahan. In preparation for reading Wolves of the Calla, I decided to take a break from The Dark Tower, read a few other books. I read Salem's Lot, I read some of Hearts in Atlantis, but I'm really happy I read Salem's Lot because I got a better feeling of Father Callahan. It wasn't 100% necessary to read Salem's Lot. I honestly wouldn't tell people to read Salem's Lot if you're just reading the series straight through. You really don't have to, because you learn what you need to. Father Callahan's backstory that's recounted in this book, I thought it was going to be like 75% about what happens in Salem's Lot. But no, Salem's Lot is just a tiny little bit of his story. Majority of it is about his wanderings through the United States, his experiences with the low men in yellow coats, who I discovered in Hearts in Atlantis. There's so much that happens that is really moving and exciting, and I felt like Stephen King was kind of feeling free with this character when he was writing his point of view and talking about his backstory, because even in Salem's Lot, I felt like Stephen King really loved writing Father Callahan, and I felt that love return when he was writing his character in Wolves of the Calla. Some stuff I didn't really enjoy completely. The situation involving Mia and Susanna and the chap, the unborn demon baby. What bothered me about it wasn't that her, what's going on with her isn't interesting. It's very interesting, but because it felt like there was needless drama within the quartet, It reminded me in some ways of what happens in certain fantasy series or TV shows where characters hide information from each other, like a group of characters will hide information from each other needlessly to cause some sort of tension or drama that doesn't really have to be there. That's kind of what I felt was happening. You know, Roland knows about what's happening with Susanna, but chooses not to tell Susanna, chooses not to tell Eddie. When Jake finds out, he, doesn't want Jake to tell them, and then Eddie finds out, he doesn't want Eddie to tell Susanna until Susanna just finally finds out for herself. So it's just like, but that's really my only gripe with it. Other stuff I really enjoyed, I absolutely love stuff that recalls the earlier books. I love, the Wastelands. I love the drawing of the three, and anytime they go back to like New York in 1977, it's just fun. I loved Eddie coming back to New York and kicking ass with Balazar's henchmen in the bookstore. And then, of course, that ending, which brings everything together, after we find out that the Wolves of the Calla are using lightsabers from Star Wars, they're using snitches from Harry Potter, except the snitches just like blow a person up and just like eat out their intestines, which is so cool. I love that. I came into the series knowing a lot of these spoilers. Not all of them. I definitely don't know how the series goes. Please don't spoil anything for me. But I just had the idea. I knew that Stephen King as himself, as the writer, was going to play a major part later in the series. I knew that Wolves of the Calla, crazy stuff's going to happen with, the lightsabers and the snitches and all that sort of stuff, and that things are going to get really meta. I had that idea, and because of that, I felt like I could really enjoy the series better because I knew what I was getting into. And to me, that was like what I was really looking forward to when I started the series. I was like, man, I can't wait to get to those later books because things are going to get really crazy. When Father Callahan reads Salem's Lot at the end of this book and is saying like, I'm not a fictional character. I love that stuff so much. The characters starting to question their own existence in the book. It just, to me, it doesn't break my immersion. It makes it even more immersive because I'm like, wow, I am part of these characters' story of them realizing they're in this book. Potentially. I don't really know what happens after this. I haven't had this much fun with a series in a long time. I will go on to say that I'm enjoying The Dark Tower more than even the Stormlight Archive. It just breaks a lot of rules that I find really fun. I just really hope that it doesn't disappoint me at the end. That's how I feel about the series. This is how I feel about The Dark Tower, or this is how I feel about Wolves of the Calla. My other reviews of the series are up on the channel, and thank you for watching.